Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. We got a couple cups of Java going here this morning.
Yeah, good and strong, too.
Yeah.
We had done a happy hour last night, and I was getting ready to upload it this morning, and while we were sitting here drinking coffee, I guess I could have at least brushed my
You could
hair.
have combed your hair, honey, yeah.
You, too.
I know.
But we were watching Mark's latest video, JW Shunning with a Twist, and made me cry.
Yeah,
Excellent job, Mark. Excellent job. What you were saying is so true. And it's like, oh, we got to redo our happy hour. So we decided to have coffee and redo it this morning.
Because in actuality, we made some comments about our mothers in the happy hour video. And the comments we made really are much more profound now after we have watched Mark's video. And so I think we're going to, well, obviously we're redoing it. I mean, that's why we're sitting here. We're redoing it. Duh.
Have some more coffee.
Yeah, I need some more coffee. But, you know, Mark made some very interesting comparisons, and we'd like to kind of do the same thing. I know I've mentioned just a little bit in, you know, some of our older videos, you know, before our first channel was taken down. And we haven't re-uploaded all those videos, so I think this would be a good time just to kind of make some of these comparisons. And, you know, Mark, you're right. The world views their family as absolutely something precious, something to be valued.
More important than anything.
Yes, and that is so, so true. You know, having done the rendezvous, the mountain man thing that I've been doing for 26 years, I had struggled sitting around a campfire with people that were worldly, people that when a Jehovah's Witness goes out in service and door to door, they will actually condemn them to death because they have not become a Jehovah's Witness. They have not found Jehovah's organization. But by contrast, I'm seeing love, I'm seeing kindness, I'm seeing things in worldly people that Jehovah's Witnesses don't do. I'll give you a really good contrasting example. Kim's brother is a Jehovah's Witness elder. And when Kim got sick with her chemical poisoning, he avoided us like the plague. In fact, there was even one time when this comment came out of his mouth, well, I don't want to have anything to do with my sister because I don't want to be responsible for giving her an attack. Now, on the surface, that sounds like a very loving thing to do, but underneath it all, it's just an excuse to avoid making the necessary adjustments in their life to have fellowship with a blood relative.
Well, in Wisconsin, they built a house, and I was actually helping them do like finishing work
and the tile work, because Kim's very good at doing tile work.
Yeah, you know, and I was doing painting and stuff like that. So I was helping them with the finish work, and I worked there, you know, I put in a lot of hours. And yeah, you know, thanks, Kim, I appreciate it. Well, then I found out that
they had a house.
Once they moved in, they had a housewarming and was thanking everybody that helped them on the house. I was not invited.
We never got invited.
And it's like, oh, well, we didn't want to give you an attack. Well, why didn't you just tell everyone not to wear perfume? And I could have come.
You know, and why didn't you not?
It was in the summer. I could have been outside on the patio.
Yeah, you know, why not make that, you know, why wasn't it presented in a way that it could have been our choice not to go?
Yeah.
See, and this is where Jehovah's Witnesses really need to be deprogrammed in their way of thinking, because by contrast, we became very, very good friends with a buckskinning couple, Bill and Margaret. In fact, I've got pictures of them hanging up on my wall. Every year, Margaret has since passed away, but every year, well, in fact, I'll just say this too. She passed away a few years back around Thanksgiving, and every year around Thanksgiving, I always call Bill and, you know, talk with him, see how he's doing, because this is my extended family. But every year around Christmas, Bill always sends me pictures of his latest hunting experiences, some of the game that he's harvested, and, you know, a nice little letter saying, hey, you know what, I miss our friendship. It's not a thinking of you type thing. It's actually sharing of his experiences, what he's doing in his life. And these things are very precious and dear to me. But the thing that I want to really contrast is that, you know, this was all in Wisconsin when this took place. And this couple, Bill and Margaret, we became very, very close. When I went to a rendezvous with these people, I was like their adoptive child, their adoptive son, their adoptive brother, call it whatever you want. But these people would literally go out of their way to see to my comfort, because I would go to a rendezvous by myself because Kim can't take the camp smoke, and that was really the biggest thing, and because of the, you know, the open fires. And so
there's a lot of people that smoke too.
Yeah, and you know, and I would always go and set up my camp by myself and things like this, and it was just so loving of even Margaret. She would say, you know, Mike, you've been at your trade tent all day. Do you need to step away to go to the bathroom or something like that? And they would actually watch my trade goods while I went off and just, you know, needed some private time. But I remember one day, Bill and Margaret called up, and, you know, they knew I was a Jehovah's Witness. And I remember one day they called up and says, you know, guys, we've never had you over to our house for a meal. Now, we know that there's a chemical sensitivity problem, but please tell us what we need to do so that we can have you over to our house for a meal. So here you have Tim's brother, who's a JW elder, that doesn't even invite us.
Doesn't even try. To
the housewarming party after Kim helped, you know, do some of the finishing work. But now you have, by contrast, now you have a worldly couple that we've all condemned to death because they don't come into Jehovah's organization. In Jehovah's Witnesses, you know damn well what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. This is the mindset that needs to be deprogrammed, because you're condemning people to death that are showing more love, more fellow feeling, more consideration for another human being than what you show for your own people. So Margaret liked to dye her hair, you know, like Kim. And Kim just simply told her, well, don't dye your hair within, you know, a couple of weeks of us coming.
A day or two.
A day or two, or what? Yeah, however it was. And what was so interesting about this is the only day that our schedules worked out was on Christmas, and they were very, very considerate about our feelings celebrating Christmas. She says, you know, the only time we can make this work with our work schedule is on December 25th. Would this offend you coming into our house with all these Christmas decorations? And I says, no. I says, because we're not there to celebrate Christmas. We're there to be friends. We're there to get even better acquainted and things like this. So these people went out, literally went out of their way to make their home chemical free so that we could come over for a meal. Is that sinking in, Jehovah's Witnesses? Are you getting these very people we've condemned to death if they don't come into this religious organization? But yet, her own brother as an elder didn't even give us a choice whether we wanted to come to his housewarming party or not. Do you see the contrast? Now, getting into the comments last night about our moms. You know, this shunning policy in many, many ways has stolen something from Kim and I that we're not...
And all of us.
Well, yeah.
Everybody in the HJW community.
Yes. You think about this. My mom is, what, 73, 74 now. And, you know,
my mom's mid-70s.
Yeah, and they're getting up there in age. And because of this severe shunning policy that Watchtower claims doesn't exist, Watchtower is robbing every one of us, and especially Kim and I, of the last few remaining precious years of their life. And look at what they've stolen from my own daughter, Shyla. Shyla, in my mother's case, is her only, one and only grandchild. And in Kim's case, Shyla is only one of two grandchildren.
My mom's only granddaughter.
Yeah. So, with this severe shunning policy, Watchtower is actually robbing us of the last few precious remaining years.
And I just want to mention that Shyla and James, you know, even though they were fully awake to Tat, and, you know, they hadn't done anything to actually legally, what you would call, leave the Jehovah's Witness organization. But because of my mom sending a letter saying, don't ever contact me again, that pushed them over to where it's like, you know what?
Yeah. Let's just send in our DA letters.
So they, you know, sent in their disassociation letter. So it was my mom that made, you know, helped them make the decision to send in the disassociation letter. Jehovah's Witnesses, Watchtower, is that sinking in? It's because of your shunning policy and what they see that is pushing the kids away.
Yeah, Mark made a very interesting comment in his video about his daughter and how she struggles with why the great grandmother will not talk to her to her granddaughter. And really, Kim and I talked a little bit about this morning, and we feel that this is actually a religious prejudice. Let me just kind of explain it a little bit how Kim and I talked about it this morning. Let's say you have a couple of children playing on a playground. You have a Caucasian. You have a native African American. Say you have a Chinese person, Japanese, whatever. But these children will play together harmoniously. There is no prejudice amongst these children at that point in time. But yet, as they grow up, the parents are responsible for inculcating this ethnic prejudice against the... So now you have these two children, black and white, I'll just go with that in the early years, they're playing together harmoniously. Then the prejudice sets in, and then all of a sudden, they separate. That's exactly what Watchtower's doing, that when you become a Jehovah's Witness, you begin playing with the Jehovah's Witnesses in the love bombing. Oh, we're a close-knit type family. But then all of a sudden, prejudices start coming in. Maybe you click on a YouTube channel and you start hearing some of the discrepancies in Watchtower's teaching. Then the prejudice begins to set in. Hey, wait a minute, this isn't right. How come you people are doing this, but yet 40 years ago you took a different stance? All of a sudden, it becomes an absolute religious prejudice. Because you're not a Jehovah's Witness, you leave the organization, they equate that with leaving God. It actually becomes a religious prejudice. So anyhow, Mark, Kim and I really enjoyed your video. We love you and Corey dearly. In fact, there's many others. We watched a couple videos from Steve Slavneklia. Sorry, Steve. They're very good, and I agree. I would rather see 900 single videos as opposed to a couple like us doing 900 videos. And it's so true, but it's through our encouragement, people seeing how brave we are getting in front of the camera and breaking down these prejudices, showing people that if you leave Watchtower, there is an absolute support group here we understand what you're going through. We know the feelings, because Kim and I, like many, many others, have something precious, something dear stolen from us, and that's the association with our family. In my mom's case and her mom's case, the last few years of their life. But on the other hand, Watchtower has to really understand the amount of burden that they're putting on the congregations now with these older ones, because the younger ones are leaving. The younger ones are not afraid to go on YouTube to explore some of these contrasting websites.
Well, like in his mom's case, there's the two boys. Now, Mike's brother is in no way able to, take care of his mom.
No, he actually lives in a very nice fifth-wheel trailer in a very nice developed park. It's very small. And he doesn't have the means.
He is not physically able to go take care of her. He couldn't move into her home and take care of her because he's just not physically able to.
Well, like me, he probably doesn't have the patience for it.
Yeah. So, because now his mom has shunned him and wants nothing to do with him, guess what? Now, they've taken it out of his hands to take care of his mom in her old age. So the congregation is going to be burdened with doing this now.
And the more that this policy is enforced, in fact, for those that have probably started watching the series that we did on the Watchtower article coming up, to where Watchtower is reinforcing this disfellowshipping, this is putting more and more and more burden upon the congregations to start taking care of these older ones, because Joel, the Unwitnessed, went into a Kingdom Hall very recently, and he noticed that you had the real young people and the real old people.
The preteen to mid-20s are all missing.
Are gone. And it's these people that Watchtower doesn't really care about, because really, forget that. Anyhow, it just goes right. I kind of lost my train of thought here, but it just really goes back to that this older generation that's about to pass away. This is really going to become Watchtower's burden. It's going to become the burden of the congregations, and it's these people that should really be my scriptural responsibility. But because of Watchtower's shunning policy, that's been robbed from me. But hey, you know what, Watchtower? What goes around comes around. What you sow, you will reap.
And we've had dealings with his mom for the past, his whole life and the past 35 years.
Look at Mama Letter Shredder.
Mama Letter Shredder. She is not the easiest person to deal with.
No, she's not easy to get along with.
Very obnoxious. So now this is going to be the congregation's responsibility. The sisters are not going to put up with her.
No, because in times past, even when we were in the same congregations, I would have sisters that come up and say, Mike, you need to talk to your mom because she's way out of line. She's hard to deal with. If she was like that in her 40s and 50s, can you imagine what she's going to be like? She's 74. Let's say she lives another 10 years and she becomes 84. Can you imagine what she's going to be like to deal with then?
Yeah, and she is not a rich woman.
No.
Which means that she's going to have to be put in a nursing home and become like a ward of the state. And so then, welfare is going to have to take care of her
or the burden
and
of the congregation. Exactly.
And we know how much the congregations are going to do.
Yeah. So I really don't want to say thank you, Watchtower, for releasing me of this burden. But thank you, Watchtower, for releasing me
for taking the burden upon yourself.
Yeah, for taking this burden upon yourself. So, Mark, we love you. We know that one day Watchtower's gonna go away. It's the meanie Teakle Parson. The handwriting is on the wall. Watchtower can't survive the internet age. It just can't do it. They're going to the extreme measure right now by broadcasting JW TV, because they know that the Jehovah's Witnesses are online. They know that they're watching online videos, and this is just one little method for them to try to maintain some sort of longevity. The throat's already been cut. It's just a matter of them bleeding out now.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. So
I need a warmer upper on my coffee.
Me too. So you all have a great Sunday, and we love you all, and thank you
for watching. Bye.